All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go
Same thing with, like, lingerie.
Chevrolet.
Oh, we on?
Overrated.
See, I agree.
Yeah.
What is? Lingerie?
Shit
Yeah.
outta here.
Overrated.
Half and half, right?
Yeah, it's
But
overrated.
don't you like to look
Very
at someone in
OR.
lingerie for a minute?
No, take them off.
A minute.
Oh, but for a minute.
All right, let's go to the phone lines.
Shay?
Huge
We get
news
straight to
last
it.
night as we were tricked, we were hoodwinked. We thought that this announcement was going to take place right here in the Jordy Culotta Show. It was surprising to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and see that the announcement had been made by a late-night Shea Dixon, which I knew right then he was not going to make his segment here across town at FM Digital Media Studios, but it is our pleasure to congratulate the newest member of the On3 squad. Jesus, man, y'all are like Bama football over there. Picking up another 5-star, Shea Dixon. Good morning, buddy. How we feeling?
Good morning. Yes, Jordy, you're getting good at this prediction thing. Very accurate prediction on me staying up way past my bedtime and just realized when I went to bed, I was like, I'm not going to make that in person at 7:15. That's just not going to happen.
Great first day for On3,
Yes,
Shay.
that's right. So,
Yes, I'm sure my bosses are thrilled about my dedication. Yes, you're already not doing anything.
what
Hear
was
about Tekken?
what was the scene? Was it you and Speegs and Embody just crushing cannonballs late night? What was the deal? Why they overslept?
It's me and my boy Matty B, who had worked with me previously, who I love, a young grinder. He joined at midnight last night.
Wow.
And, there
Package
was
deal.
yes, because of some contractual stuff, I'll say. There were a bunch of people in the same boat I was in, so like the Rivals Tennessee site moved over everyone last night, and Nebraska, and a number of people, the Georgia site. So there were a lot of us that were up late having to kind of burn the midnight oil, but it was fun. It kind of had a little mini signing day feel to it. I was obviously going to save the worst kept secret for the show, but then whenever the people who pay me decided for me, they said, "No, you'll be putting it out at 12:01." I said, "I don't think
that's not going to fly with the Jordy Culotta Show. We're not going to be able to do that.
matches up with my Jordy Culotta show airtime, but whatever."
Shay, I was awake. You got to hit me up. We could have went live.
Special show. I thought that the most predictable decision of today was the Lance Hurd coming up at 4 o'clock. You got a big first day, huh?
Yeah, well, like I said, there was all the recruiting prediction count was correct for me. I'll say the same for Zalance, and I did my first order of business once I got clearance to enter the On3 gates was I jumped onto Zalance Hurd's profile through a little 95% confidence on LSU
At 1:03 a.m.
Bold, but I like it. And look, this is a big one out of Neville, guys. The number, and now I can say, with the On3 rankings, my rankings, our rankings, I had no part in them. I just started, but they have him at the number 3 offensive tackle in the country.
Oh, wow.
So that was Lael Collins territory when he was coming out of Louisiana. And you guys know how much I love Tyree Adams out of St. Aug. The fact that they can put together an offensive line class that's got 2 offensive tackles that are ranked in the top 10 nationally, coming off a really nice O-line haul a year ago, and then you're kind of Paul Mabenga's in from Georgia. They'll add another guy or two. This will be one of the better kind of 2-year runs of O-line commitments they've had, and that's exactly what you want. If you thought you were getting the Brian Kelly who was churning out elite Notre Dame offensive lines, obviously this is a full staff effort here, but they're going in that direction. This is if they can pull this off, which I expect they would, this will be a massive day for LSU fans.
What LSU here locally has really kind of spun the narrative over the last couple of months. If things go well for them this afternoon in Monroe, which it looks like it will, was the Lance Hurd. What do you make of this class going into the season that starts on Sunday?
I mean, I can remember when they had when we all had the discussions over the summer of, hey, look, when is this thing going to take off? When they were at 5 commits and ranked number 50 in the country, and in the span from July 1st to now they're at 21 commits, could be at 22 today, and certainly locked into at the moment, as the season begins, a top 5 class, which is, kind of wild to think about coming off all the, staff changes they had, but also guys back-to-back 500 seasons. Like, Not a lot of programs out there can have that sort of on-field results, have that sort of changes happen off the field, and then still come into the next season ranked inside the top 5, and that's what LSU is going to do to start things off. So huge, and I love that they understood D-line wise, let's say. Not a great year for D linemen in Louisiana. Well, Jamar Kane and this staff went to Paris, France, basically. I mean, they were in Minnesota, Baltimore, Georgia, all over the country, Indiana, grabbing commitments, and all of these guys rank in the top 100. In fact, 3 of the 4 that I just named are top 50 overall prospects, regardless of position. So I love that they got, the understanding that, hey, this is a national brand. We can go out there and the LSU Polo can get us into any high school with any kid that we want to recruit, which is why we've seen them lock up visits coming up from guys like Nicholas Harbor, the 5-star. But I do love, and I know that we talked about this needing to happen, and it has, that they turned around and focused on Louisiana. And you guys were there for most of these commitments, obviously, helping kind of produce them and put on the show for the guys' big day. But it's just been an unbelievable run from the Tyree Adams and Trey Hollies who kind of got things going to this wave of Baton Rouge commitments, Caleb Jackson at running back, Kylan Jackson at safety, a quarterback in Ricky Collins, a little guy that's ranked as a 5-star over at poor old Catholic High, that Shelton Sampson, who certainly is probably one of the top 3 or 4 or 5 receivers in the entire country. You had, if Arch Manning's leaving the state, if, Derek Williams, for now, they're still recruiting him, out of Westgate, who's some consider to be the 2nd best player in the state. If he's leaving the state, if you've got Tackett and Jaden and these guys leaving the state, it had to end somewhere. And you had to get guys like Shelton, Tyree Adams, Zalance Hurd, Ricky Collins, Kylan, Caleb Jackson, and the list goes on, Trey Holly, all these guys. You had to close with them. It couldn't be sort of the floodgates have opened and all these guys are going elsewhere and you were recruiting nationally. No, they buckled in. So kudos to the staff. And then obviously if you put Hurd into that mix, that's as big as it gets. So I love the direction they're going. And look, we'll talk about this plenty moving forward. They were burning the midnight oil more than I was last night. They were up in Tiger Stadium calling recruits for the 2024 class, FaceTiming them at midnight. That's September 1st is when you can officially talk to juniors on the phone before it's either in person or text or whatever it is, but now it's, hey, I can FaceTime you, I can talk to you, and instead of doing it at 8 a.m. or instead of kind of doing it at midnight from the house, they were up in Tiger Stadium with the lights on calling everyone. So I thought it was a cool, unique approach.
They can use this weekend to recruit, right? They can bring recruits to the game, they just can't have contact. Isn't this a kind of a pretty weird weekend for recruiting?
Yeah, you said it's exactly right. So Florida State as well. Florida State's got guys. So the 2 teams can get a lot of tickets, right? And then a recruit can sign up to be on the list and, get a ticket and go to the game. But since it's neutral site, neither team can have the recruits on the sideline with them or be hanging out with them and bring them in the locker room or things you might normally do for a home game. So that stuff isn't happening, but they'll have a ton of these Louisiana kids. Jalen Brown, your big 5-star receiver out of Miami, who y'all have had on the show before, he's making the trek in to see LSU play Florida State. So there should be a good contingent of recruits coming to the Superdome this weekend.
You mentioned Nicholas Harbor, and it seems like that's kind of top on the wish list as far as out-of-state guys go for LSU. What are you hearing on a timeline of him, and how's LSU kind of moving there?
No set timeline here. He's starting to line up official visits, and as I mentioned, LSU's in that mix. So they'll host him. I think it was the Tennessee game. I'm not in front of the computer right now. Of course, on the first day of my new job, I'm not in front of my computer. But I believe it's Tennessee game. But
Tackett Curtis is going to go to USC. I don't know if you knew that.
Actually just flipped to LSU. And you got to call it midnight.
For the people who don't get the joke, I was so tuned out this summer of not having a job that I didn't even know when top 10 players in Louisiana were committing. A good 2 weeks late on the Tackett Curtis news, which is tough to do.
But you're on the ball today.
Yeah, I'm all over it today, trust me. But one thing I will point out, because we haven't talked about this a ton, Harbor is now very much in on, like, he's ranked as the #1 athlete. He's going hard in on this. I want to play tight end in college.
Ooh.
So now everybody has sort of shifted the, okay, now we're recruiting you at tight end type mentality. And we'll see. He hasn't played a ton of tight end so far in high school. So senior year, he'll be putting out the film. But we know what he can do on the track. We've seen what he can do defensively on the field. You know what he looks like. So if they've got a quarterback that can throw it more than 4 yards, I'm assuming he can probably put up some numbers, and we'll have a big season. But that'll be interesting to watch, because obviously he's viewed as, hey, this could be an edge rusher type guy, but he has tight end in his repertoire. Now he's very much adamant of, this is where I want to be recruited, and schools are following suit. And if you want to circle teams out there that need a tight end, I'll give you one front and center. It's LSU. They have 2 scholarship tight ends on the entire roster. One of them got here a few months ago in Mason Taylor, who's the guy they're talking about the most. So it'll be interesting to watch moving forward, because they're in that mix. He's got a great relationship with the staff, and suddenly he wants to be recruited at the position that's probably the biggest need position on LSU's entire roster.
You mentioned the 2024 class and that they were reaching out last night inside Tiger Stadium. Edge rusher Colin Simmons has been on the top of LSU's list there. Who others stand out in 24 when you look ahead to that class? Who are some of the must-gets for LSU?
You know, it's so early, too, because they're about to play junior years. Like, if you did a class prediction piece right now, it would be nowhere close, but half the kids you wouldn't even know to put on it because they haven't offered them yet. That's just kind of how the cycle normally goes. We catch wind of the guys who have already been playing as sophomores. They get offered, and they're sort of the talk of the town until we see all these juniors play and see how they looked. But, yeah, they were out there last night. I'll give you one big name to watch here coming out of Grayson. They have a couple of kids in Georgia, Jordy, that they've got committed. JoJo Stone for next year, Michael Doherty for this year. Grayson's obviously a big powerhouse program. But keep an eye on a kid named Zion Ferguson. He's a cornerback. He's ranked as a 4-star. He's a top 150 prospect. He's very high on LSU, and it wouldn't surprise me if sooner than later that he decided to shut things down, and my pick would absolutely right now be on LSU. So we could see these 2024 dominoes start to drop. In fact, we will. They have a few commitments, but we should point out that after Zalon's heard today, they have 22 high school commitments. They will have 22 high school commitments if they get heard in the vote for the 2023 class. So you've been on a run, but that's got to slow down, eventually, because you're just running out of space, but more so just guys that you're really pressing for. So the board is narrowed. With 2024, they're handing out new offers. They're all over guys. They're pressing them. They're about to get kids in for games this fall. So I think moving forward, I mentioned Zion Ferguson being a name to watch. Obviously, Colin Simmons is a guy a lot of people like to talk about as a 5-star. I'd start really paying attention to that group of guys, because I think that's where this next wave of commits comes from.
Nussmeier or Daniels?
I think it's Daniels, right? I mean, it'd be surprising if – I'll say it this way. If y'all knew nothing about LSU football, and y'all – hopefully everyone in that room knows.
Now you're
something
speaking
at
my
this point.
language.
Yes, that's right. Lloyd, I'm talking to you.
Thank you.
If y'all knew nothing about LSU football, and I told you, here's the 2 options. One guy is a redshirt freshman who's played a little as a backup, but never really played meaningful snaps at this point. The other guy is a guy the new coaching staff brought in as a transfer, has started 29 straight games, thrown for more than 6,000 yards, and is the guy that Brian Kelly says, well, when he's in there at practice, you can really tell the offense is calm. Well, if you're taking this team, which has been completely rebuilt, top to bottom, into the Superdome, and you just want like the theme of the week, Brian Kelly said, is no distractions. Go to the Superdome. Don't be distracted by the lights. Don't be distracted by the fans. Just get the job done. Well, you'd say, I bet he's choosing the guy that's already been playing for 3 years. And that's not any sort of knock on Nussmeier's talent or Daniels. I think if it's that close, for me, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be choosing the guy who's already got all the experience, at least to get you through game 1.
It seems like a no-brainer.
I thought there's option C both.
I think they both play.
Is that Was that a Brennan? Is that a,
Oh, no. I was going to say both of them play. I thought that, it's not on the test, but I like to write in my own answers sometimes.
I could see it. I'll tell you what.
Half credit.
Both of them, a week from now, when they're preparing for Southern, both of them have to be ready to play because that's the game early in the season. That and whatever follows that. New Mexico, maybe you've got to get both those guys a lot. Is it State right after Southern?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I'm telling you, that State game, State's good. And on my win-loss, I've got them losing to State. So this will be the best Leach team they've had. So whoever you're picking, you need to have them ready for that game because State will be able to put up some points.
What a grinder On3 was able to add in Shea Dixon.
They play Southern, New Mexico State. They go up to Syracuse.
Hell, I don't know the schedule.
Shit.
What do you want from me?
Auburn plays tight end now.
Who's Tackett Kurt?
Right.
Who is this guy? All right, Shea.
They already released LSU's schedule for this year?
They play, this Sunday? I thought they played on Saturdays.
LSU football? Any high school action for you tonight? It starts tonight. Woodlawn gets it going on Thursday night here. The game got moved to East Iberville with Woodlawn and U-High on a Thursday night. You got a couple of 5-stars and 4-stars on the field. This is a big opening weekend for high school football.
Yeah, golly, I cannot believe that high school football as well is already here, and I'm gonna head down to New Orleans. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'll head down to New Orleans early. In fact, probably tonight. So I may check out something in New Orleans tomorrow. But I want to point out something. I saw Robin Fambrough, the GOAT, was writing this earlier this week in the Advocate. I don't know if it's often this has happened, but 5A is just so incredibly talented in this state. But the LSWA preseason rankings came out, and Zachary's number 1, Catholic's number 2. But to have the top 2 teams in 5A consensus, they swept the votes in this city is a big deal. Yeah. And then you look around at kind of the area and even moving into the Acadianas and over to New Orleans. This is going to be a really, really good year for Louisiana high school football. There's some teams out there that can go. So I'm excited about it. I will be at a lot of games this year, but boy, it stood out to me, and I just didn't think about it until Robin wrote about it. But having Catholic and Zachary here in town as the 2 top 5A schools, when you think of all the 5A schools that are North Louisiana, New Orleans, Lafayette area, wherever you want to pick from, and those 2 are the 2 best, that's good news for the future of Baton Rouge football.
Shady, good news for On3 with you on the squad, man. Y'all are loaded over there. Keep up the great work. We'll be touching base with you weekly, and we'll see you down in New Orleans, bro.
Wait, I have a question for
Absolutely.
Shea.
Hold up.
Shea, do you wear aftershave or cologne? We were discussing it before.
Great question.
Well, you already know the answer to that because every time I'm down in the studio,
every time I leave it on your pillows. What?
I know. We were talking about how great you smell.
Cologne.
It's cologne.
See?
What is it?
Yeah,
Can you tell us what it is?
It's cologne. But when I was on waiting after y'all called, I could hear all y'all talking in the background, and I thought y'all said after. I thought y'all said after Shea, and then you're like, it's played out. I was like, they're just hating on me right now when I'm here.
Sitting right here.
Could have happened.
After shave.
Shea,
cologne all day long.
Shea, the only good thing about you not being in studio is we still have the OG pickup. So it's that one of you zonked out at some bar, looking like you just ate
Mardi Gras
and ate the mushrooms. Yeah.
Someone wrote Shea's picture looks like he just found out his one-night stand is pregnant.
This is why my mom tells me to get that picture removed from the internet.
It's too good.
It's too good.
No, Mom. It'll live here forever.
It's saved on our desktop.
That's right. Have a great first day, bro. We'll see you soon.
Thank y'all all for all y'all did for me over the summer. I appreciate it. I'll come in next week. We'll hang out.
All right, man. There he is.
Oh, yeah.
No longer in between jobs. Shea Dixon is now a part of the On3 team as they move on.